welcome to my channel. Well, I used a moose pattern knife, this Rough Rider, on cutting some pizza the other day. I went in the kitchen and I had a pizza sitting there, and I got a fork, and I said, oh, this thing's not cut. Yeah, I could use like a pizza cutter thing, do that. And I said, here's a perfect opportunity to use a knife. And I don't have any cheap little kitchen knives, like steak knives and stuff in there, because I've got so many other kind of knives. I always look for an opportunity to use a knife to cut something. And the moose pattern is something I think that it doesn't get a lot of love or attention, but if you think about it, traditional knives are usually a blade type. They may be put in a different way. Here's another moose, pattern. This is where I first saw the moose pattern. Was in a novelty knife, because I was going after, a novelty knife type of thing, and Rough Rider produces these knives in the moose pattern that are not novelty knives. They actually are useful. You can use them. You can use novelty knives too, but these have got a little bit better steel. They're made a little bit better. And anyway, what I was thinking about it was the knife that gets the most attention. This is a sow belly, but one that gets the most attention is a trapper. It has a clip blade usually, and it has a Spey blade, and they both come out over here on one end. Now these are moose pattern right here. I looked in Levine's guide. There's not a lot on them. They call them like a Texas Jack or something like that. But that difference right there, this one's a sow belly, so it's got a pronounced one. This one's got a slight curve. Because they're equal-ended, they've got the handles, if you want it to be consistent, has to be the same for either side. And that's why this little curve here, you could use a straight one, like they do right here. This is like a cigar knife, they call it sometimes because of the fat end. There's a lot of names, but what I was thinking about it is, it's basically like a Stockman. It's the same way. It's got a regular, clip point. It has a Spey blade, and it has a sheep's foot. So a Stockman is basically a trapper with a sheep's foot, And a trapper is basically a moose with the blades coming out one end instead of both ends. But this pattern is pretty cool. Like, this is a Case Mini trapper, but it's just another example of, they can put anything on there as a secondary blade. So what you lose on a trapper or a moose pattern is that straight edge capability that you get with the Stockman. That's one of the reasons why I like the Stockman, is you've got this, which could be a Warncliffe or anything else, but it's that straight, just a complete straight edge. No curve or nothing else. Curves are nice to have and good to have, so you've got your Spey blade here for a little bit of curvature, and you've got a little bit of curvature on your clip towards the end right here. The moose makes it more pronounced. Look at this. This is, I think sometimes they call this like a saddle horn or something, but this guy just comes down and a lot of nice, curve. If you look at, say this is the object you're cutting, with it curved like this, you can do this. If this was straight, if this was a straight end, let's see, and you're not wanting to damage all, I don't know, why would you not want to damage? I don't know, anyway. You can still do it because it's got a little bit of a curve, but you're doing more of it digging in with the tip. I don't know, I'm not a butcher or anything like this. So Levine, like I said, he doesn't have a whole lot on it. You know, he puts it in the name patterns and everything. And let's see what it is down here. Pull this guy up. Moose, Texas Jack. All right. And then what he talks about. With the exception of the sunfish, the farmer's jack, and double-ended melon tester, all double-end jackknives are built on either cattle knife or premium stock knife handle frames. Cattle knife and stock knife were sometimes used for two-blade knives. Since the 1920s, however, the two names have been used for only knives with 3 or more blades. Larger two-blade versions are considered jackknives, no matter if they're single-end or double-ended. Smaller two-bladed, double-ended versions, 3.5 inch or longer or less, with a pin or second blade are pin knives. The single-ended jack that is based on premium stock knives is called a premium jack. We don't really use these terms. I don't know. Maybe we do. I'm not really that into it. Premium jacks have several double-ended counterparts. The most impressive of these is the Texas Jack, or Moose. I didn't know they called that a Texas Jack. I thought a Texas Jack would be like a Stockman, but who knows? I don't know what I'm talking about. Texas Jacks are big, usually 3 7/8 inch long. I believe their size accounts for their Texas name. While the large blade out each end must have reminded someone of a bull moose's giant antlers. The master bladed Texas Jack is always a wide clip. The second blade is a spear or long, wide spey. Slender double-end premium jacks with either slender clip or long spey or two-clip blades are considered double-ended trappers. See? So you go, you get trappers and stuff like this. But yeah. I don't know if it has to be square to be considered a moose or round, you know. I mean, this is considered a Texas Jack. What would you call that? Would you call that a moose pattern? Well, I guess it's whatever Case calls it. And then Winchester's got these. See, so you wouldn't necessarily call that a moose. I don't know. Call it whatever you want to call it is way I look at it. Bullhead. Double-ended cattle knives. These knives have a spear or master clip blade. The second blade may be a spey, sheep's foot, a clip, a punch, or a pin. Man. Yeah, there's a lot of terminology. See, I call this guy a sunfish. They call it a jumbo. I don't know what they call it. But yeah, there you go. I just thought I'd show you that's just a little pattern that I appreciate. You know, it's just one of those things where if you get an opportunity to use a knife, and you've got more than one, you know, you've got lots of knives and everything, use that opportunity to use a different knife, maybe a knife that you're not always grabbing. And you might find that, hey, I really like this pattern. And you really didn't notice it before because there's so many traditional knives. But if you think about it, it really comes down to what type of blade do you have, what kind of blade shape, which end it comes out and everything else, you know. I mean, yeah. Melon tester, big long blade. It's still, if you had this with 2 blades on it, 2 long blades, let's say the other one is this looks like a giant spey blade. Let's say the other blade was a pen blade. What would you call that? A weird knife is what I'd call it. Collectible, perhaps. But yeah, here's a double-ended knife. It has a pen blade and a clip blade, but it's not a moose pattern, you know. It's smaller and everything. So yeah, the names, you know, they just come up with all kinds of names for different things. You know, a Barlow, you know, gets its shape for a certain thing. Really, once you get it, you can call it whatever you want, I think, you know. But I mean, it's nice to have a standardized name so people know what you're referring to. Like if if you're doing like they're doing a pocket check or something on a live, and they say, "What are you carrying?" And you say, "I'm carrying a moose pattern." Well, most people would know what you're talking about, a moose pattern. But if you said, "I'm carrying a double-ended jack," like, okay, what the hell is that? You know, we don't even use a, I don't know. Maybe you do, but I don't use the term jackknife very much anymore. I use it on more like a semi-trailer, you know. It jackknifed. Use it on that. But as far as like describing knives, what kind of knife do you have? Most people, I think, go with the description of what it is. A trapper, a stockman, a whittler, you know, sheep's foot is the blade pattern. But, yeah. Anyways, there you go. Sorry, ramble on long enough. Just thought I'd throw my 2 cents on that one. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.